Hi, this is Kathy with Barefoot Mountain School of Herbs, and today in this video we're going to talk about how to find and process and use pokeweed. The information presented in this video is intended for educational purposes only and is not meant to give any medical advice, diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. Please do your own research and prayerfully make your own decisions regarding your use of herbal medicines. Okay, the first thing that needs to be said about pokeweed, of course, that it is poisonous, except in very small doses. It is a very powerful herbal medication and it has to be used with a lot of respect. But if it's used correctly, it is a very powerful and very useful herbal medication. Of course, we're told as children the berries are poisonous. Stay away from the berries. Don't eat those berries. But then we find out that the older ladies, especially Appalachian older ladies, will take berries every day for their rheumatoid arthritis or for their arthritis in general. They will swallow one or two or three berries. They swallow them whole. The poison is actually in the seed, so you don't ever want to chew it or crush the seed. Um, they think that the strongest herbal medication is in the seed coat, so you swallow the berry whole, your body harvests that seed coat, and then the seed itself just passes through and, takes the poison with it. A tincture of the root is used in very tiny doses. We're talking about drops instead of dropperfuls. And it is a powerful lymphatic. It is one of the herbal medications that I will use if my body starts not feeling well, if my fibromyalgia starts acting up or that sort of thing. I'll use that in conjunction with yellow dock and dandelion root, and it usually will get my body back into shape. Of course, you only take 1 drop a day for up to 7 days, and that is all. It is immune enhancing. So if you wake up with a sore throat or you feel like you're getting sick, you can usually just take a drop of poke root and it will poke your immune system right into order. It is also specific for mastitis, preferred by a lot of midwives. It is said that 1 drop can clear mastitis. It has an affinity for the breast, so a lot of people will make it into oil or a salve and use it on their breast for like fibrocysts or that sort of thing, and it's said to work very well. It is one of the only herbs that we know of that works directly on the glands, so if you need your thyroid to work better, your adrenals, maybe you have some adrenal fatigue, even the ovaries, it is thought to work directly on the glands to help with that sort of illness. So first we're going to talk a little bit about identifying pokeweed. Okay, so in identifying pokeweed, the first thing that we'll notice is that it emerges in the spring with green alternate leaves along a smooth stem. Of course, the leaves are lance-shaped. A lot of people know this when it comes up in the spring because Appalachian people use it as poke salad. So you take the immature leaves when they're very young and put them in at least 2 changes of water to get rid of the poisons, and they're used as a spring green. Later on, of course, then they'll develop these little sprigs of white flowers. And then as the plant gets a little bit older, then the stems will turn red and the white flowers will turn into little green berries. Eventually, the leaves will grow to 5 to 10 inches long and 2 to 4 inches wide, so they get pretty good sized. And then the little green berries will darken to this purplish black. Now, the biggest look-alike for pokeweed is actually elderberry. Usually, this is the opposite. People are worried about getting pokeweed instead of elderberry, but today we'll look at it in this direction. On the left here is some pokeweed leaves and flowers. On the right is some elderberry leaves and flowers. And as you can see, of course, the pokeweed has alternate leaves. The elderberry has compound leaves and they are opposite. The flower, the little sprig of flower, is much smaller in a pokeweed. An elderberry spreads out like an umbrella, so the flowers are much larger in an elderberry. And then the berries themselves, of course, look a little similar. They're both black, they're both purple, and most of the time elderberries shiny. Um, but of course, the pokeberries hang more like grapes, whereas the elderberries spread out like an umbrella. So that's the difference in the berries. Okay, so now we're going to talk about harvesting, processing, and using poke root. I just want to show you all some of these pictures of a couple of years ago when we were harvesting poke root. And on the left is the girl that does a lot of our harvesting. She just enjoys it. And she was determined to dig this up. And I want you to look how large it is. And that's still not even all of the root. But of course, you know, we don't need nearly that much root. But I wanted to show you how big these roots can get. Okay, so we want to dig up the poke root in the fall after the berries are starting to dry up and fade. And you only need a small amount of root because, you know, one tincture will last you for years unless, you know, you're giving a lot of it out. And you grate or chip the root into small pieces. The root is soft. It's not very hard to deal with. You can grate the whole thing up. You want to weigh it if you can possibly weigh it. This is one of those that we want to give a great deal of respect to. So we weigh the root and put it in a jar. You want to put half pure grain alcohol like Everclear and half spring water in a 1:5 ratio. So say if you have 1 ounce of root, then you would use 5 ounces of liquid, a mix of the two, but 5 ounces of liquid. And then you're going to shake it every day for at least 6 weeks. But I like to leave mine for up to 3 months because it does seem to get stronger as it sits. If it turns cloudy, that's actually a good thing. So I usually like to leave mine in there until I can see it turning cloudy. Okay, so after 6 weeks to 3 months, you want to press it out well. And I usually use a potato ricer for this, but you can also use, you know, the back of a plate or something like that through a strainer. You want to press it out very well, and then you strain it through a coffee filter. And then you bottle it, and of course label it very well that too high doses are poisonous. You want to make sure that everybody understands that this is a different kind of tincture. The dose on this tincture is 1 to 2 drops, not dropperfuls, just drops, once daily for up to 7 days. I like to dispense it in tiny bottles. I have little 1/3 ounce bottles so that when I give it out, it reminds people that this is a small dose tincture. Now you may also want to grate or chip this root up and put it in olive oil or another skin conditioning oil. Let it sit in a warm place for a couple of weeks and then strain, and then you let it sit and let the water and the sediment settle to the bottom, and then you pour off the clean poke root oil. And it can be made into a salve or used sparingly as a rub. Just be sure to label it as poisonous if ingested. And also remember that anything you put on your skin does get absorbed into your body. So you also want to use this sparingly. I also cannot overstate how respectful one must be of this herb. Do not give it to children. You want to keep it completely out of the reach of children. You don't want to use it for more than 7 days. Do not take while pregnant or breastfeeding, except for under the care of a professional midwife or herbalist to get rid of mastitis. And you do not want to give to people who are in a weakened state or who have kidney problems. And that's the end of the video on poke root. If you should have any questions, just place them in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and share. And thank you and God bless.